Hello, good evening. Welcome to From Dial Square to Where. Oh, what an anticlimax, eh? Oh, what a shame. After all that build up, we go and lose to the Spuds. So, let's have a quick debrief. With me, I have Tony Turner. Welcome, Tony. Alonso Spencer.
Hello.
Hello, welcome, Alonso. And Rohan Verdi. Welcome, Rohan. How are you? Well,
Disappointed.
it was very disappointing, exactly, Tony. Very disappointed indeed. Um, Let me just quickly go through before we sort of dissect the team performance. Talking Arse podcast, which I recommend. Great podcast there. He's put disappointing to lose, of course. But would you rather be sat there with an enormous debt and a busted flush at the helm, or with a bright young manager, loads of great young players, and stable finances? This is only going one way. I just wanted to start that because how true that is. We've got something to be positive for. I feel really sorry for Arteta because he sets the team up really well. He's got a plan that really, I think it's a really well executed plan for pretty much every game we go into, and we just get let down by the same old players every time, really, and the same mistakes. Defending corners, for a good example. But there's some good performances today, and obviously some less good performances. And I'm being very, very diplomatic when I say that. Let's go through the team just very briefly and give a rating and a bit of a rundown about how well we thought or not these players played today. Martinez, I thought he had a really good, solid performance again today. I don't think he's at fault for either of the goals, and it could have been worse if it wasn't for him. I'll start with you, Rowan, on that one. What's your thoughts on Martinez, and what would you score him out of 10?
Martinez had a solid game. He didn't do anything wrong. In fact, he stopped us from conceding even before. When Kane went through, that was our mistake. And just to have the presence of mind to actually step out and make yourself big. Don't go to ground. Don't concede a penalty. Don't be tripped. All of that. And then he made that save from that 30-35 yard shot, which was great. All in all, he was commanding. He was great. One of the top three players on the team today. One of the bright sparks of what's happened. I'd probably give him, and he didn't really do anything wrong. Maybe an 8 out of 10, 8.5, 9 out of 10.
Yeah, no, I agree. I do agree. And Alonso, what are your thoughts briefly on Martinez?
I think that with Martinez, I think he played very well today. I think that there's some shots that he made were very crucial to stand for us staying in the game. I think that he held his own against Harry Kane. He got some shots from him as well. So I give Martinez a 8, 9 out of 10.
You're on mute, Andrew.
Apologies. Very schoolboy error there, like Klasnach. Tony, what have you got anything to add on Martinez's performance today?
Solid performance. I'd give him an 8 out of 10. Kept
Yeah,
us in it in the first half when they were shooting a lot of shots.
he had that incredible save from Ben Davies, didn't he? Where he just tipped it onto the bar. I think that was absolutely amazing. That save, to be perfectly honest. Yeah. Okay. Well, let's go to the back three. This is going to be the disaster zone, really, of the lot. I think we can just take it as a whole. Actually, no, because it's unfair. I don't think. Let's start with David Luiz because I don't think he particularly did too much wrong today, apart from perhaps his part in the corner that they took, which they scored from. But I think that was a whole heap of people that were really to blame for that one. Apart from that, I can't remember him making too many mistakes. Can anyone think? I'll go to you first again this time, Tony. Can you remember anything particularly bad that Luis did today? he was put in real load of trouble, wasn't he, by Klasnach and that back pass?
And he just wasn't really involved much either. I'd give him a 5.
Yeah, he wasn't really. Yeah, it's hard to go too high, but he's probably the best of the three today, maybe. But Alonso, what about you?
So I think, like Tony said, I think that he didn't do much, and he didn't really distribute the ball very well either. Like he didn't have no chance to distribute either, which is one of his strengths from the middle center back position. But Tony, I'm giving him a 4 because that corner kick, he should have done more with a corner kick. So yeah, he didn't have the greatest of performances, but he didn't really impress me that much as well. So yeah, a 4 out of 10.
Quite harsh, that one. Yeah, Rowan, what about yourself?
So I don't think he did anything wrong. I don't remember who messed up in the first minute when Martinez had to make up that save. I don't know if it was Luis or not, but in general he was okay. The big positive was that he didn't try to bring down Son when he got that back pass. You almost
Yeah.
thought that he's going to bring him down and concede
Yeah.
a penalty and get sent off, right? But he didn't do that, which was okay. But all in all, what I don't get is why was Cheney marking Alderweireld, who's got like maybe a foot on him and is one of the best headers of the ball on their team? Why weren't our centre backs going against centre backs, right?
Yeah, exactly. That's why the one area where I probably blame, the other, the rest of the centre backs, because he wasn't a centre back, but he was the one that was actually trying. He's the one that recognised that, that danger. And he had no chance, unfortunately. But he was the one that was really trying to solve that problem when the rest around him were just standing there watching and letting their feet grow root into the grass, and actually start growing roots. Yeah, I think I'll give David Luiz a 5. Personally, he didn't do anything particularly wrong, but he didn't do anything particularly right today either. But I think probably, about 5. But let's go on to you first this time, Rowan. Klasnach. He didn't exactly shower himself in glory today, did he?
Uninspiring, cost us the goal. Essentially, that was a game-changing moment. We had just scored. We could have capitalized. We could have got the pressure, but he released the pressure right away. And schoolboy error. Why are you playing it towards the player? You play it towards the outside. Luis is running one side and he absolutely wrong foots him. That schoolboy error. I said during the stream that he should be fined for that. That's not a difficult one, and I'm not saying that people can't make mistakes, but that sort of mistake is just you not caring enough. You're not thinking that there are consequences, and that can't be the case. He has to be fined for this, and he has to be sold.
Yeah, he has to be fined. Did you say?
He's got to spin the wheel of fortune or whatever they spin after him. He's got to go.
That pass that he has made is worthy of him being, his match fees being deducted. Why would he do something like that? He's just put the whole team down.
No, I agree. He completely and utterly put everyone into the shit today, didn't he? To be fair, Tony, I know you haven't got too long today. So, what are your thoughts? So if you give me your thoughts, not only on Klasnach, but give me your thoughts on Mustafi today as well.
Kolasinac was horrible. I had him a 3 out of 10. Thought Mustafi had a pretty good first half, then he just went totally Mustafi in the second half with 3 or 4 major errors. So I'd give him a 5.
A 5, blimey. That's quite
Nice.
Yeah, cool. I think that's quite generous, really, for Mustafi, considering his second half.
Mustafi got 5.
Yeah. What about you, Alonso? What's your thoughts on those two?
Well, Klasnach, in big games, he always doesn't think about what he's doing sometimes. And it's cost us more than just this game. He's done it in the past, and it's kind of pissed a lot of people off. And, it's it's kind of harder to defend him sometimes. So I give him a 3 out of 10 because his mind wasn't there today. And it's big games like this and why I question why he starts. And Mustafi, it's the same thing. Like Tony said, it's like Mustafi isn't Mustafi after giving up a big mistake. He's going to lose his concentration and lose his focus because he does that. And I feel bad for him because he was doing so good, before the mistakes he's made the past 2 games. This one is really big because this is Northumberland Derby, and so he knows better than this. But it is what it is. We have to move on from him in this match. Their liabilities, and so that's what I gotta say about that.
God, I mean, you've just put there in the messages, Tony, that Football London had Mustafi as a 6.
Yep.
I mean, they must have had Stevie Wonder there, sort of having a look at the match today, to be perfectly honest, which is a bit strange. Rowan, what's your thoughts very briefly on those two?
Mustafi for me is probably like 1 or something. That's how much he gets for me, because he has shown to us why we don't trust him. He has shown that, and he's got a 5 or 6 or whatever he has from folks because his errors did not directly contribute to goals, but the way he was playing, this narrow defeat could have been a hiding if Kane was on form. If they got Kane got in twice, Mora got in. He just lost his head.
Yeah, no.
And that's what he's going to do. He's going to cost you points.
Exactly. That's why I've never got carried away with his upturn in form, because he's never more than a few seconds away from doing that, is he? And it's a shame, but you cannot trust the guy. Kolasinac has been okay in the last few games, sort of playing in a role that he's unfamiliar with because of the injury to Pablo Mari. However, he's just shown today why he cannot continue in that position. And Next Generation Arsenal, which is a good follow on Twitter, has said that this season has to be the last that we give goals away for free. Personnel changes are a must. And if ever a performance sort of showed that, then this is it today. Now I'm going to move on to Ceballos, because I thought he was outstanding today from start to finish, basically. The fact that he is a lone player with about 4 games left, including Man City, potentially 5 if we get past Man City. He's certainly not playing like a player that doesn't want to play for Arsenal. He's showing a lot of other people up for their performances, and he doesn't look like a player that wants to leave Arsenal. So you've got to give him a load of credit for that. These performances that he's putting in, considering the fact that he's only got 4 or 5 games left with the club. I'll give him an 8 today, personally, because without him, God knows how he would have got on. Rowan, I'll go to you first on that one.
Yeah, I mean, I hate giving away man of the match awards when we've lost, but if there was any man of the match in this performance, probably it's Ceballos, right? Like, even what epitomized his performance was, even in the last second, he was back there and he tackled for the ball, and that was the fight and the spirit that he showed. But again, too light on midfield. Two-person midfield is not going to be good enough, especially with Xhaka and Ceballos both not being the quickest players. So, it was a good performance. I possibly give him an 8, but yeah, I mean.
Yeah. What about you, Tony? I know you've got to go in a minute.
Yeah, I got to go right after this. I thought he was probably the man of the match, him and Charity. I'd give him an 8.
Yeah, definitely.
Pretty solid.
Absolutely. I thought Cheney was great as well. Alonso, have you got? You need to go off now, Tone.
Yep.
Take care, mate. Thanks very much for coming on. Much appreciated, and hopefully next time it won't be so under such bad circumstances. Take care, mate. Bye bye.
Have a good one.
Now, I know you've got to go soon as well, Rowan, so I'll come to you quickly on the next one. Very briefly, Alonso, what's your thoughts on Ceballos?
I think Ceballos has come a long way since he's been back from injury, but the only problem is that he can't he can't succeed in a 3-4-3 formation. I think he's better as number 10, I think, or at least an attacking midfielder. But like Rowan said, like Xhaka is not fast enough for him to have that base that he needs to have a partner with. And despite all that, I think that he did a good job today. I think he played nonstop to the whistle blew, and I think that we got to give him credit where credit's due. I think he deserved man of the match if he won today, so I give him a 8 out of 10.
Yeah, I'm quite really encouraged with his performance. Rowan, now you know you've got to go in a minute, so just run through the rest of the you haven't got to go through every single member of the team clearly, but if you want to go through any highlights or any other lowlights that you found today in today's game.
So Pepe ineffective. That's what I thought. He wasn't utilizing his key attribute of dribbling, of running in behind. We weren't playing balls behind. We were sort of like always playing in front of them, which is why we weren't creating much. That's on Pepe. Aubameyang had to score a couple of chances. He had one great shot, which was matched by the save that Lloris made. But other than that, the one that he with the crossbar, he should have scored there. Or the one in the beginning when he got the cutback from Bellerin, he should have scored that. So he wasn't in the right in the right space to score, which sort of let us down, and we could have calculated there. Lacazette, he's our he can just be classified as a midfielder. I don't know why he's classified as a striker, why he wears number 9. He's hardly in the box. I like his workload, but essentially that leaves us light on top, especially if we don't have Salah and Mane sort of players who are going to score those goals. You need your number 9 to score, which isn't happening. And there were times when Xhaka was ahead of him, when he was playing on the other side of the center circle, on our side of the half, and that's not where your number 9 is supposed to be. If he's there, then you're not going to score goals. The thing that I feel is that in every game that we go in, we're susceptible to concede, right? Like, we're going to concede. The only way we can win right now is by scoring more goals. But in the last 2 games, we scored 1. And that's why we've drawn 1 and lost 1. That's the reality of things,
Yeah, absolutely. It is very frustrating. I'd love to know why he's doing it like that. Lacazette, what a goal! What a beautiful goal! You've got to give him kudos for that. But he's just not, for such a good finisher, he's not in the box anywhere near enough, is he? And it is a shame, and it lets him down at the moment. And I cannot believe that Arteta is telling him to stay as far away from the goal as you can. Why would he do that? So I don't know why he's doing it. And he still looks very unfit to me. And like I said during the watch along, I really wouldn't be surprised if at the end of the season it's announced that he needs an operation or something like that, because that's how he's playing to me, Lacazette. So do we need to lose you there, Rowan?
Yeah, I'm going to drop off, but it's been a pleasure, guys.
Been a pleasure,
Sure.
and I'll see you again soon.
Tanner is a worthy substitute. So
Absolutely. Absolutely. I was just going to say, welcome, Tanner. Goodbye, Rowan. Speak to you soon.
Hey, Tanner.
Hi, Tanner. I know you might not have too long either, but it's only going to be a short one today, but thanks for coming on.
Yeah, of course.
Just your brief thoughts on the performance, Tanner. You haven't got to go through the whole squad. We've been through the defence so far, as you may have heard.
Yeah.
And Ceballos in particular. Out of the defence, do you think there's any sort of notable good performances? I mean, I think Tierney played well. I think Bellerin actually had quite a good game. He's starting to look like his old self again. But, what are your thoughts?
Overall, I'll just echo what Rowan was saying. It's just not good enough defensively.
No.
And it was only a matter of time. Look, Mustafi, I don't want to say I've been beating the Mustafi drum of he's getting better, he's improving under Arteta. I have been to a degree, but I've said that with the caveat that less is more with Stoker and Mustafi. And in other words, if he's your starting center back, match in, match out, you've got problems.
Yeah.
Comes off the bench and he's a solid depth option. If he is going to play, cup matches against lower tier opponents, should we be fortunate enough to qualify for Europa League and group matches, things like that. But if he's your go-to, you're in trouble. And unfortunately, right now, the only other, well, I shouldn't say unfortunately, the only other option over there is Rob Holding. And I don't know why he's not getting a run out, but it's a disappointing, it's a disappointing, obviously, result overall. And bright spots, Lacazette's goal, obviously. I thought Danny Ceballos played well. I want to make, because I came on, I caught the Ceballos conversation. And one thing about him that I noticed today was he seemed to want to default to Granit Xhaka in the midfield. Like, too often I'm seeing today, I saw Danny Ceballos with the ball at his foot, and he could have turned and run into space, but then he stopped. And he looked to give the ball to Granit Xhaka, who just side to side and backwards. And I don't really know why Ceballos was doing that. So while I think he had a good game, and if I had to give a man of the match to any Arsenal player, it would probably be him. I didn't like the fact that I felt like he was just defaulting to Granit Xhaka more often than not.
I can see that a little bit more in the first half. I think I'd go. I can't see that in the second half, though, Tanner. I thought he was really progressive in the second half, and he was playing really. I think all of them. The first part of the second half, I thought we were absolutely bossing the game, and we seem to have moved up like 20 yards all as a team. Well, I thought he was really quite progressive in that period, especially. But I can see what you're saying more in the first half when we were trying to get a bit more of a foothold in the game, for sure.
I feel like just in the middle third, in the middle third of the park, when he had the ball, he just didn't really seem to want to go forward. He would go forward, but then he would stop. Now, when he got the ball, I'll say closer to the final third, and obviously not in the box. He would get the ball just outside the box. But the closer to the box he was, the more progressive he became. But if he was more towards the middle of the park, he just seemed to kind of hover in the space and not like, well, I don't really want to go forward here. I think I want to go over to Xhaka. And I really thought that Ceballos had a chance in this game to really, sort of take the bull by the horns. I think he really could have bossed the game himself, but I just kind of feel like he just defaulted to Granit Xhaka a little too much. So,
hey, Tanner, I have a question for you, Tanner. Do you blame the formation?
No. Do I blame? No. And here's why I don't blame the formation, because right now, what else are you going to do? What else are you going to play? The problem is we have players. We have to play 11 guys. And we just don't have 11 quality players to run out there to play the formation that Arteta probably wants to play, which is the 4-3-3.
But what was that formation he played a 4-2-2 in, or 4-4-2 in? He played it recent. He played it in the beginning of the lockout. Was it Man City or Southampton?
It might have been City. Actually, it might have been Brighton too. I'd have to go back.
Right. Okay.
I'd have to go back and look. But he basically what he's doing with the back three is he's protecting all three of them. Mm-hmm. And now you see today that even with protection, even with a back three and protection there, they're still not good enough. They're just not good enough. And
no, that's why you've got to feel so sorry for him, haven't you?
I mean,
you've got to feel sorry for Arteta.
This is what he's been given.
Exactly. Yeah. He's got to, he's trying to polish a turd, but at the end of the day, it's still a turd.
It's still a turd.
Yeah.
I'll give you the quick recap, just real quick, of what Robbie Earl and Robbie Musto were saying in the studio, in the NBC studio over here, Andrew. Yeah. And they basically said what I just said. They are not good enough. The fact that you are playing three at the back to try to protect them because they're not good enough, and they're still making these mistakes, should speak volumes about their quality. and I think it absolutely does. And you know, the Kolasinac, you know, that what he there's another situation there where he could have kept going forward, and all of a sudden he just stops. He just stops. Turns around. It's like they seem to want to get the ball to David Luiz, come hell or high water. They seem to want to get the ball to Granit Xhaka, come hell or high water, and they seem to want to feed the ball into the middle of the pitch to what today who was Lacazette, come hell or high water, and it does. If there's 3 guys around him, 4 guys around him, like get him the ball. But then what's he going to do with it from there?
Exactly.
So hey, listen, man, I appreciate you having me on. I hate to bail on you.
Not a problem. I know you double booked, so I appreciate you coming on.
Yep. Appreciate it, Andrew. We'll talk soon.
Take care, mate.
All right, see you. Talk to you soon,
Tanner. Bye. Now, Alonso, I've got there's a tweet from Evan, another great follow, which is at AFC Evan, and he says, "Pointless having Arteta if we don't back him this summer and give him something to work with. As long as we've still got these defenders at the back, we'll never get anywhere. I feel like a broken record saying it at this point because these errors happen on such a frequent basis." And, you know, you can't say fairer than that, can you? And also, Arseblog, hugely disappointing, but a timely reminder that unless we invest in some proper defenders and improve the spine of this team, days like this will happen over and over again, regardless of who is in charge. Had some chances, didn't take them, got sucker punched. So this is why I feel so sorry for Mikel Arteta, because he is setting up the team brilliantly, I think, and he's always got a good plan to play against the teams that we're playing and exploit them. But we just lack the cutting edge in midfield to create chances for our talented forwards, and we clearly have some nightmares in defence as well, who just drop these clangers over and over again. So we do get carried away sometimes with the way that Mustafi is improved, the way that Kolasinac is being desperately trying to do a job at the left side of the 3. But they're just clearly not good enough, and we're just let down over and over again. It's true, isn't it?
Yeah. And to me, you know, whenever we signed Mari from Flamengo, I think it was, you know, there was some high praise from him because he could actually defend.
That was a shame.
When he got hurt, I was like, oh no, here we go again. You know, other injury bug hit the arsenal. And you wouldn't think that he can make a difference in the back 3, but we haven't ever seen him in the back 3. So, I mean, it's just worrisome because, you know, he's still on for a couple more years, which is fine. And, you know, you can see that at the end of the tunnel. At least you hope so with Sabilla, right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, so there's hope there, but, you know, it's going to be too rough because they can be used, and if they make one mistake, they're going to be, our fan base is just going to turn apart. So we're going to hope for the best for next year. And so, yeah.
Yeah, exactly. And a Yankee Gunner from the great Arsenal Vision podcast says, sick of trying to pick positives from games we lose and draw because we keep making stupid mistakes. Until we get better players who don't crumble under pressure, this will keep happening no matter how much Arteta improves us. And that's pretty much exactly the same as, you know, all the other tweets I've been reading out. And that's those tweets are from people who are intelligent enough to realise what's going on, rather than just blaming Arteta or, you know, as the overreactions of what we all see on Twitter. Now, I just hope to God that we, you know, going back to the Evans tweet, AFC Evan, about having Arteta there, but, you know, we have to back him. And that is the biggest thing this summer. And I just hope to God that he can really get his point across and get back this summer. I've got a good feeling that he will. Because regardless of how, you know, hurtful today's loss was, there's some still really good, you know, things to look forward to under Arteta, as long as we can get rid of these players that keep making these mistakes and improve the team. We did have our chances. I mean, going on to Pepe, I think he was fairly lively the first half, but like I was saying during the watch along, we don't get the ball to him enough. And that's down to the midfield as well. Not having that enough creativity. If we had better players in midfield than Granit Xhaka, for example, who Ceballos could rely on behind him, so that Ceballos could actually then take the ball further forward, then he could be a lot more creative and get the ball to the three forwards. But I think he has to sit so deep, Ceballos, because our defence is so shaky. Xhaka's obviously just doesn't go past the halfway line hardly at all. So we lose a lot of the creativity of Ceballos. So until we improve the midfield and the defence, and we've got the confidence back there, then Ceballos is going to have to sit that bit further deep, unfortunately. So yeah, and I don't know what you think again about Lacazette, but he just doesn't look fit to me. I mean, he scored a brilliant goal today, but what do you think about him?
I think with Lacazette, I think it's not more so Arteta wanting him to play so deep. I think it's Lacazette, and I think that if anything, this lockout has hurt some people, and one of the people being Lacazette, because he can be very talented on his best day, but on his worst day, he can be really not so great. And so, whether it be the false number 8, as some people call it, but I think that he's lost something, and I think you're right. I think there's got to be a problem there, Andrew, because he hasn't been right for a long time. And I just hope that he regains his mojo, I guess.
Yeah, no, exactly. Well, we're on to next Wednesday now, which we are home to Liverpool. That's an 8:15 kickoff. So we'll have another watch along. We'll start off around sort of 8 o'clock on Wednesday. So we can have a chat about that if you're available for that, Alonso. So thank you to. I'm going to close up now because I don't want to get too maudlin over this result. I think we just need to put it behind us now and move forward. But there were some positives, but overall, it was such a disappointing day. And I went into the game, as I'm sure a lot of you did, yourself included, really quite confident for the first time in a long time against Spurs away. And we've just been badly let down, haven't we? So let's get it over with. Let's rip it up, put it into the bin and move forward. Let's see what we can do against Liverpool. But the next two games, Liverpool on Wednesday, Manchester City next Saturday. So tough. We knew these were all going to be tough. We knew that. But it's a good test again for Arteta, and let's just hope the players can rise to the levels where we know that we can play under Arteta, and see whether they can actually get us through these next couple of games, eh?
Yeah.
Fantastic. Well, thanks ever so much for everyone watching. Thank you, Alonso. Thanks to Rowan and to Tony as well, and to the Bearded Gooner for coming on earlier as well. And thank you to everyone listening to this and watching. It's been a tough day, but let's move on. Come on, you Gunners. Let's come on to Wednesday.
Yeah. Cheers.
Cheers. Bye-bye.